No, it wasn't tough at all. I believe that's how the media wanted to portray it. We all knew what it took to win the game, and it took 5 people on the court. LeBron and the team understood that. We didn't have a problem with that. We were just worried about wins. We were trying to win games, and we didn't really get caught up in that, what the media tried to make out of it, you know what I'm saying, try and divide us. We were family, close-knit, and we kept everything in-house.
You know, if I could interject, yeah, you know, if they didn't feel some pressure, I as a coach, I did, because you know, when you're coaching and you know Romeo might have a game, he scored 25, and then Dru had a big game when LeBron was suspended, and the highlights in the headlines in the next day's paper are LeBron, and you know, so you know, those are difficult moments because you got to make sure everyone understands their value and their worth. And the one great thing about LeBron is that he always included them, you know, and in interviews, you know, he would tell, you know, why don't you go interview Dru? He had a good game. Or why don't you go talk to Romeo? They played better than me. And there was times when, honestly, he gave up a trophy, an MVP trophy, and said, you know what? My teammate played better than me. He should have this. So when you have when you have your best player doing things like that, you know, it's easy for the guys to rally around him.
And LeBron, you've known these guys longer than you've known just about anybody that you've ever played with. Now you're in the NBA, and there's a lot of bonding with teammates, but it's also a business. And you know, you hear about players after a game going their separate ways, maybe not socializing as much. I mean, do you feel like you could ever have a bond with any NBA teammates that's as strong as the bond you have with these guys?
Nah, it would never be like this. Just for the simple fact we grew up. I've been knowing these guys almost 17 years. I mean, we grew up. I mean, we played all summer. We played during school. We played every day. We lived together at times. So, you know, it wasn't, all we cared about was having fun. You know, and now in the NBA, it's still fun to me. The game will always be fun to me, and when it's not, I'm going to stop playing. But it's also a business, like you said, and you have to be careful about how you mix match and you know, make fun and business and pleasure and everything that goes on with the NBA. So, you know, these guys definitely having the team chemistry and just the brotherhood that we had that you guys seen in the film will probably never be matched.
So you guys, even if this film had never been made, you feel like you'd still be in touch, that there's that thing that nobody, it's a community and it's a family that nobody else really would understand.
Got nothing to do with what's going on here.
I mean, we was hanging out before the film. I mean, the film just...
Yeah, we just want you guys to see it. I mean, we about to get out of here soon and go play the video games in my room, man. But, you know, this film ain't got nothing to do with what's going on up here. This is forever.
You know, it's interesting too because we saw the sort of double-edged sword when you guys were a traveling team. It was not a normal high school experience. You know, you obviously had to sacrifice a lot, and Coach Dru talked a lot about, you know, how much did these kids miss out on their childhood. And then you saw a lot of the hypocrisy with the whole controversy. Is it too much too soon? The same media that was asking, is it too much too soon, were the ones who were making it too much too soon. And I've always found it interesting with athletes where people say, oh, they're too young. And it's like, you know, Miley Cyrus is 16 years old. Nobody seems to care if she gets exploited. But there's this sort of relationship we have with athletes where you're adored and you're getting people asking you for autographs, and then all of a sudden you're getting heckled in a bar. Hey, you're going to give me a ride in a Hummer. I mean, how do you handle that when you're 16 years old, 17 years old?
I think the media, and I think a lot of people, you know, on the outside looking in, build you up to take you down. You know, they build you up and they say, you know, this team is, you know, the greatest team that they've seen in high school basketball, and LeBron James is the best high school player they've ever seen, but at the same time they want to see you fail. So that's how we always protected ourselves. We never looked at nobody saying that we was better than anybody else.
Go ahead, Coach. You want to say? Before we wrap it up here, I mean, obviously...
I would like to say something.
Sure.
I mean, you guys are part of the reason why I think the film is going to be great. If we could please get like 5 questions from the people in the...
Absolutely.
I mean, sure. They sat here for an hour and 45 hours, 2 hours to watch our movie. The least we could do is give them, let them have a few, you know, questions.
Absolutely.
We see that you guys grew up playing basketball together. How was the transition from playing together for 17 years and going your separate ways to the NBA, playing overseas, playing football? It's kind of like you had to relearn the game since you learned it playing together.
It was a huge transition. The biggest help for me was me and Romeo sticking together in college, but even then playing with a whole new team and having to make new bonds and just getting a feel and that chemistry back. It was tough, and it was almost impossible to compare to what we did in high school and how well we played together. So it was tough, and it still is tough to this day.
It was frustrating for me, because you go from a team every time we went on the court, we was going to win. And we thought we was going to win. And, getting drafted to a team that had just won 17 games the year before, it was frustrating, not going out there. And sometimes your team wasn't, physically and talented to even compete with some of the teams that you were going against my rookie year in the NBA. So, and then some of the guys in the NBA just really not that smart in the game of basketball. And being around guys with basketball IQs that's out of this world, when you get to the NBA and you see some of these guys that have no idea how to play the game, it was frustrating. So, I'm still trying to work at it. Getting better.
For me, the toughest part was being away from my friends, because Willie, he left, went to West Virginia, Sian went down to Ohio State, and he was off doing his NBA thing. It was basically me and Dru out there fending for ourselves. So the toughest thing for me was, get adjusted to different people, because I really don't like a lot of people.
Hey, if I could say, the toughest thing for me was the toughest thing for me was I had trouble the next year comparing my next team to this group, and I would kind of beat them up about how great these guys were, and I had to learn, to accept the other players and coach them, and for a while there, I couldn't let go of these guys, and so it was really tough for me too.
It was difficult for me as well, just communicating with your teammates, learning what type of people they are, how to talk to them. You could tell maybe one of these guys to do something in a certain way, and somebody else on your new team, they might shut down if you come at them like that. So you just got to learn how to approach people, learn how to talk to your teammates. And the same thing Brian said, we came from a winning program. Every night we went out to compete, we thought we were going to win. We're coming from people that came from different programs that was used to losing and not ready to compete every night, not coming to practice every day or competing like that. So it's a different transition.
I just wanted to ask, my cousin wanted to come with me, but when I told him I'd get to talk to you, he wanted me to ask you a question. He said he's a junior like I am, and all 3 years he's been told by his coach he's not good enough to play. Could you give him some advice that I could tell him?
His question was, his cousin wanted to come to the movie premiere with him but couldn't make it. He's a junior just like him, and his coach has told him 3 years in a row that he's not good enough to make the team. What advice can we give him? The biggest advice you give him is just try to continue to work hard at it. At this point, it's all about proving people wrong and proving that coach wrong. If I think if 1 of 5 of us ever heard that from a coach, that would just make us so hungry. Like, to be able to, I love Coach Dru to death, of course, but if he would have told one of us, we would have worked out so much that we couldn't wait to see that coach again, being a better basketball player, being a better person, where we can basically just leave the school and go to the rival team, go to the team that plays that team, and go at them crazy like you've never seen before. He has to work at it. He has to be the best. He wants, he has to really just say, this is what I'm going to do, and my advantage is now I have motivation because this coach has never given me a chance.
I want to thank everybody.
Say that again.
Good note, Dan. Good note.
All right, folks. Thanks so much for coming. Let's hear it one more time for Chris, the coach, and the Fighting Irish.